Lagos bustled with energy as students flooded the gates of Oakwood University, one of the most prestigious private universities in Nigeria. Among the crowd, Thabo Okiki strolled confidently, his designer sneakers tapping against the pavement as he greeted fellow students with his usual charm. At the same time, Lebechi Lebo Nwosu walked briskly across campus, her books clutched tightly to her chest. Unlike the other girls who strutted in heels and stylish outfits, she wore a simple Ankara dress, her glasses slightly tilted on her nose. She wasn't concerned with social cliques or popularity. Her focus was on graduating at the top of her class. That morning, Thabo and his two best friends, Chuka and Ifeanyi, relaxed in the VIP lounge of their penthouse apartment. With expensive drinks in their hands and soft Afrobeats playing in the background, they entertained themselves with their usual pastime, reckless bets. "I still can't believe that girl got the highest GPA again," Chuka scoffed, referring to Lebo. "She doesn't even try to fit in." Ifeanyi chuckled. "That one? She's married to her books. I bet she's never even been on a date." Thabo smirked, his curiosity piqued. "You really think so?" Chuka leaned forward, an idea forming in his mind. "Why don't we make things interesting? Thabo, I dare you to make her fall for you." Thabo raised an eyebrow. "How much?" 500,000 naira, Ifeanyi said, grinning. Thabo leaned back, considering the challenge. He had played this game before. Charming girls was his specialty. But Lebo? She wasn't like the others. That only made it more intriguing. "You have a deal," Thabo said with a smirk. The next day, Thabo executed his first move. Timing it perfectly, he accidentally bumped into Lebo as she exited the library, causing her books to scatter onto the floor. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," Thabo said, bending down to help. Lebo adjusted her glasses and sighed, kneeling to pick up her books. "It's fine." She barely looked at him before walking off, leaving Thabo stunned. No girl had ever ignored him like that. "Interesting," he muttered to himself. Undeterred, he tried again. In class, he made sure to sit next to her, pretending to take an interest in the lecture. "So, you're really good at this economics stuff, huh?" he asked. Lebo gave him a wary glance. "Yes, I enjoy it." "I could use some help," he admitted, with a sheepish smile. "Think you could tutor me?" Lebo hesitated, but then sighed. "Fine. Meet me at the library at 4 p.m. As Thabo watched her leave, he grinned to himself. The game had begun. Thabo arrived at the library at exactly 4 p.m., expecting to charm his way through the tutoring session. But from the moment Lebo opened her books, he realized this wasn't going to be easy. She explained economic theories with precision, her voice steady and confident. Thabo tried to pay attention, but he found himself distracted, not by the subject, but by her. The way her eyes lit up when she spoke, the slight dimple in her cheek when she frowned in concentration, the gentle lilt of her Igbo-accented English. "Are you even listening?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Of course," Thabo lied, flashing a grin. "You were talking about supply and demand." Lebo sighed, shaking her head. "If you're not serious, I won't waste my time." Thabo leaned forward, lowering his voice. "I'm serious. He hesitated, then smiled. "I think you're really smart, Lebo. I admire that." For the first time, she looked at him properly, as if trying to figure him out. "People don't usually notice things like that," Thabo shrugged. "Well, I do." Lebo hesitated, then sighed. "Okay, let's continue." Thabo smirked. The walls were beginning to crack. Over the next few weeks, Thabo and Lebo met regularly. Their tutoring sessions turned into casual conversations, then into moments of laughter. Lebo told him about her late father, a respected professor who had instilled a love of learning in her. She spoke of her mother, a strict but loving woman who ran a fabric business in Enugu. She shared her dreams, graduating with honors, getting a scholarship abroad, making her family proud. Thabo listened more than he ever had in his life. He found himself admiring her drive, her sincerity. She was different from the girls he usually pursued. No designer bags, no false smiles, no need for validation. One evening, after their session, Thabo walked Lebo home. The streets were alive with the sounds of Lagos, hawkers calling out, car horns blaring, the scent of roasted corn in the air. "You don't have to walk me," she said. "I want to." Lebo glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "You're different from what I expected." Thabo chuckled. "And what did you expect?" She hesitated before replying. "Someone who doesn't care about anything real." Thabo felt a pang of guilt. If only she knew the truth. "Maybe I used to be like that," he admitted, "but people can change." Lebo gave him a small smile before stepping into her compound. As Thabo walked away, a strange feeling settled in his chest. This wasn't just a game anymore. Thabo's friends noticed the change immediately. "Bro, you're taking this bet too seriously," Chuka said one evening, watching Thabo scroll through messages from Lebo. Ifeanyi smirked. "Or is our playboy catching feelings?" Thabo scoffed, but deep down he knew the truth. Lebo had gotten under his skin in a way no one ever had. "Don't be ridiculous," he said. "I'm just making sure I win." But even as he said it, the words felt hollow. Later that night, he texted Lebo. "Are you free tomorrow? I was thinking we could go somewhere fun." Lebo's reply came quickly. "Fun? Like what?" Thabo grinned. "It's a surprise." He had no idea what he was doing, but he knew one thing. He wanted to see her smile again. The next day, Thabo took Lebo to Lekki Conservation Center, a place known for its beautiful scenery and the longest canopy walk in Africa. "This isn't what I expected," Lebo admitted as they walked through the park. Thabo smiled. "Good surprises are the best kind." They walked along the suspension bridge, feeling the breeze, watching monkeys swing from the trees. For the first time, Thabo wasn't thinking about winning a bet. He was just enjoying the moment. "You know," Lebo said after a while, "I never thought I'd spend time with someone like you." "Someone like me?" Thabo teased. "A ridiculously handsome, charming guy?" Lebo rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. Someone who actually listens. Thabo's heart skipped a beat. This was real, and it terrified him. Days turned into weeks, and Thabo found himself falling deeper. One evening, he visited Lebo's house for the first time. Her mother, Mama Nwosu, was skeptical of him. "Young man, what do you want with my daughter?" she asked, her gaze sharp. Thabo straightened. I like spending time with her." Mama Nwosu studied him before nodding slowly. "We shall see." Later, as Lebo walked him out, she sighed. "She's just protective." "She should be," Thabo said. "You deserve the best." Lebo smiled softly. "So do you." Thabo's chest tightened. He didn't deserve her. Not with the secret he was keeping. Thabo tried to push away the guilt, but it only grew. One night, at a party, Chuka and Ifeanyi confronted him. "So when are you going to end it?" Chuka asked. "Or are you in too deep?" Thabo clenched his jaw. "The bet is over." Ifeanyi raised an eyebrow. "You're backing out?" "No," Thabo said firmly. "I won. She loves me." Chuka smirked. "Then tell her the truth." Thabo's stomach twisted. He couldn't, because if he did, he would lose her forever. The truth came out in the worst way. Lebo overheard Chuka and Ifeanyi laughing about the bet in the school courtyard. "Imagine, Thabo actually caught feelings for the girl," Chuka mocked. Lebo's world shattered. When she confronted Thabo, her eyes were filled with betrayal. "Tell me it's not true." Thabo swallowed hard. "Lebo, Tears welled in her eyes. "I trusted you." She turned and walked away. For the first time in his life, Thabo felt true regret, because he had lost the one person who ever made him feel real. Thabo tried to reach out, but Lebo ignored him. She blocked his number, avoided him in school. Days turned into weeks, and he became a ghost of himself. At home, his mother noticed. "What's wrong, my son?" Thabo sighed. "I hurt someone I really care about." His mother studied him before speaking. "Then fight for her." Thabo looked up. For the first time in his life, he knew what he had to do. Thabo stood outside Lebo's house, rehearsing his apology in his head. He had never worked this hard to win a girl over, but this was different. Lebo wasn't just any girl. She was the only one who had ever made him feel like he wanted to be better. After knocking on the door, he braced himself. When Lebo finally answered, her face was unreadable. "What do you want, Thabo?" Her voice was cold, distant. "I need to talk to you," he said quickly. "Please." She crossed her arms. "About what? About how I was just a game to you?" Thabo winced. "It wasn't a game." "At first, yes, it started like that. But everything after that was real, Lebo." I swear Lebo shook her head. "Do you even hear yourself? You used me for entertainment. You lied to me, and now you think saying I swear is supposed to fix everything?" Thabo felt desperation clawing at his chest. "I messed up. I know that, but He hesitated, forcing himself to say the words. "I love you, Lebo." Lebo's eyes flashed with pain. "You don't get to say that." She took a deep breath, voice breaking. "You don't get to ruin me and then say you love me." She stepped back, closing the door in his face. For the first time in his life, Thabo felt truly helpless. Thabo spent the next few days in a haze of regret. He barely spoke to his friends, ignored the parties, even skipped a few classes. Chuka and Ifinyi tried to talk to him, but he wasn't interested. "Bro, it's just a girl," Ifinyi said, exasperated. "You'll move on." Thabo glared at him. "It's not just a girl, it's her." Chuka shook his head. "You're serious about her, aren't you?" Thabo exhaled. "Yeah, I am." Chuka studied him before nodding. "Then prove it." Thabo looked up. He would. Lebo did everything she could to erase Thabo from her life. She buried herself in schoolwork, avoided places he might be, and ignored his texts. But no matter how hard she tried, the pain lingered. One evening, her mother noticed her mood. "Nwam, you've been quiet. What is it?" Lebo hesitated, then sighed. "I trusted someone I shouldn't have." Mama Nwosu nodded knowingly. "And did this person try to make amends?" Lebo scoffed. "He says he's sorry." Mama Nwosu gave her a long look. "Then make sure you're not holding on to anger just to punish him. Make sure it's what you truly want." Lebo didn't reply, but the words stayed with her. Thabo didn't give up. Since Lebo wouldn't listen to him, he found another way, her mother. When Mama Nwosu saw him at her shop, she frowned. "What are you doing here?" "I need your help," Thabo said honestly. "I love your daughter, and I don't know how to make her believe me." Mama Nwosu studied him carefully. "Did you really hurt her?" Thabo swallowed. "Yes, and I hate myself for it." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she sighed. "If you want my help, you must show me that you are serious. You must prove that you are a man, not a boy playing games." Thabo nodded. "Tell me what to do." Mama Nwosu smirked. "You want to win my daughter back? Then you will work for it." The next day, Thabo found himself in the back of Mama Nwosu's fabric shop, stacking rolls of material. "Is this really necessary?" he asked as he struggled to lift a heavy box. Mama Nwosu raised an eyebrow. "Do you want my help or not?" Thabo sighed and kept working. Over the next few days, he did everything Mama Nwosu asked. He cleaned, ran errands, even learned about different fabrics. Lebo, of course, was shocked when she walked into the shop and found Thabo carrying a pile of Ankara cloth. "What the hell are you doing?" she asked. Thabo grinned. "Working for your mother. Apparently, I need to prove myself." Lebo turned to her mother. "Mama, this is ridiculous." Mama Nwosu simply shrugged. "A man who truly loves you will fight for you." Lebo scoffed and walked out. But later that night, she found herself smiling. Day by day, Thabo chipped away at the walls Lebo had built. He walked her home even when she ignored him. He sent her small notes apologizing, promising to be better. Slowly, her anger began to fade. One evening, as they sat outside her house, she finally spoke. "Why are you still here, Thabo?" He sighed. "Because I love you." Lebo looked at him carefully. "And if I never forgive you?" Thabo smiled sadly. "Then I'll spend the rest of my life trying to earn it." For the first time in weeks, Lebo's heart softened. Lebo still wasn't ready to trust Thabo completely, but she allowed him back into her life, cautiously. They went back to their usual conversations, though now there was a new kind of tension between them. One afternoon, as they walked through a market, Thabo saw a small beaded bracelet and bought it for her. "What's this?" Lebo asked. Thabo shrugged. "A reminder that no matter what happens, you're special to me." Lebo hesitated before slipping it onto her wrist. She didn't say anything, but she didn't take it off either. Things were almost back to normal, until Chuka ruined everything. At a party, he got drunk and let slip that Thabo had been working so hard only because Mama Nwosu had told him to. Lebo overheard. "So, it was all just another game?" she asked, voice shaking. Thabo's heart dropped. "No, Lebo, it wasn't." "I'm done." Lebo turned and walked away. This time, Thabo feared she wouldn't come back. For weeks, Lebo avoided him. Thabo didn't know what else to do. He had tried everything, and still, he had lost her. Then, one day, he showed up at her house with a letter. "I know you don't want to see me," he said, "but please, just read this." Lebo took the letter reluctantly. That night, she read it. And for the first time, she cried. Not out of anger, but because she realized something terrifying. She still loved him too. Lebo stared at the letter long after she had finished reading it. Thabo's words lingered in her mind, his sincerity woven into every sentence. "I never meant to hurt you. At first I was foolish, but then I fell. Hard. You changed me, Lebo. You taught me what love actually means, and if I could take back every lie, every mistake, I would. But since I can't, I'll spend the rest of my life proving that you were never a game to me." Tears slipped down her cheeks. She still loved him, but could she trust him again? She folded the letter and placed it in her drawer, unsure of what to do next. Days passed, and Lebo tried to push Thabo out of her mind. She focused on school, her friends, and her mother's shop, but nothing felt the same. One afternoon, as she walked home, she spotted Thabo sitting outside, staring at the sky. He looked different, quieter, more serious. She hesitated before walking over. "You're still here?" Thabo turned to her, surprised. "I told you, I'm not going anywhere." Lebo exhaled, crossing her arms. "And if I never forgive you?" Thabo smiled sadly. "Then I'll wait." For the first time in weeks, Lebo didn't walk away. Lebo and Thabo fell into an unspoken truce. She still didn't trust him completely, but she stopped avoiding him. They walked home together sometimes, shared small conversations, but the air between them was still tense. One evening, as they sat outside her house, Thabo sighed. "I miss us." Lebo frowned. "We were never an us, Thabo." His jaw tightened. "Maybe not officially, but you felt something, didn't you?" Lebo hesitated, then looked away. "It doesn't matter anymore." Thabo leaned closer. "It matters to me." Lebo's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay guarded. "Feelings don't erase what happened." Thabo nodded. "I know, but I'll prove to you that what I feel is real, no matter how long it takes." And deep down, Lebo wasn't sure if she wanted to resist him anymore. Thabo was patient. He didn't push, didn't try to rush things. He simply showed up, consistently, quietly, proving with actions what words could not. One day, he walked into Mama Nwosu's shop and saw Lebo struggling to carry a heavy box. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. "Let me help." She sighed, but allowed him to take the box. As he lifted it, he glanced at her. "You don't have to forgive me yet. Just let me be here." Lebo met his gaze, searching for any sign of deception. But all she saw was sincerity. Maybe, just maybe, she could give him a chance. The turning point came on a rainy afternoon. Lebo was on her way home when the sky opened up, drenching everything in sight. She had forgotten her umbrella and was shivering when she heard footsteps behind her. Turning around, she saw Thabo, holding an umbrella over her. "You'll catch a cold," he said simply. Lebo stared at him. "Why do you keep doing this?" "Because I love you," Thabo answered without hesitation. For the first time, Lebo didn't argue. She simply let him walk her home. And maybe, just maybe, she let herself believe in him again. Lebo couldn't deny it anymore. Thabo was proving himself in ways she never expected. But her heart was still cautious, still afraid to trust him completely. One evening, she sat with her mother in the shop, helping her count the day's earnings. Mama Nwosu watched her daughter closely before speaking. "You've been smiling more lately." Lebo glanced up, startled. "Have I?" Her mother nodded. "Yes, and I suspect it has something to do with that boy, Thabo." Lebo hesitated before sighing. "He's different now, but I don't know if I can trust him again." Mama Nwosu reached for her daughter's hand. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, my child, but don't let fear stop you from being happy." Lebo mulled over her mother's words long into the night. The next day at school, Lebo found herself sitting with Thabo during lunch. It had started happening more often, but today it felt different. "You know," Thabo started, his voice casual, "you're not the only one who's changed." Lebo raised an eyebrow. "Oh." Thabo nodded. "I've been thinking a lot about the kind of person I used to be, the people I hurt. You." His gaze softened. "I don't want to be that guy anymore." Lebo studied him carefully. "Then prove it." Thabo grinned. "Challenge accepted." And for the first time in a long time, Lebo let herself laugh. Word spread quickly around school that Lebo and Thabo were on speaking terms again. Some people were supportive, others whispered behind her back. One afternoon, as Lebo walked past a group of girls, she heard one of them mutter, "She's so stupid. He played her once, and now she's falling for it again." Lebo clenched her fists, but before she could respond, Thabo appeared beside her. "Let them talk," he said, his voice calm but firm. Lebo turned to him, surprised. "It doesn't bother you?" "It used to, but not anymore. I only care about what you think." Lebo felt her heart skip a beat. Maybe Thabo really had changed. Determined to prove himself, Thabo started spending more time at Mama Nwosu's shop, helping out without being asked. One evening, as he swept the floor, Mama Nwosu watched him with amusement. "I never thought I'd see the day when Thabo Okafor would willingly do chores." Thabo chuckled. "Times change, Mama." She nodded approvingly. "That they do." Lebo watched the exchange, warmth spreading through her chest. Maybe, just maybe, her heart was beginning to trust again. One weekend, Thabo invited Lebo to an Igbo cultural festival. "There will be good food, music, and dancing," he said eagerly. "You'll love it." Lebo hesitated. "I'm not really the dancing type." Thabo smirked. "Then I guess I'll have to teach you." That evening, under the glow of lanterns, Thabo took her hand and guided her through the traditional Igbo steps. Lebo laughed as she stumbled, but Thabo's grip was steady, his smile never fading. And for the first time in a long time, Lebo felt truly happy. The festival was a success, and Lebo found herself thinking about Thabo even more. One night, she sat outside, staring at the stars when her phone buzzed. It was a message from Thabo. "Look outside." Frowning, Lebo stepped onto the porch, and there he was, standing in the street, holding a small gift bag. I saw this and thought of you, he said, handing it to her. Lebo opened the bag and found a beautifully hand-woven Igbo bracelet. Thabo scratched the back of his head. It's supposed to bring good luck. Lebo smiled softly. Maybe, just maybe, luck was finally on their side. Lebo stared at the bracelet in her hands, her fingers tracing the intricate Igbo patterns. She wasn't used to receiving gifts, especially not ones so thoughtful. Thabo shifted on his feet, watching her reaction. Do you like it? Lebo nodded slowly, her voice softer than she intended. I do. It's beautiful. Thabo grinned. Good, because I want you to think of me whenever you wear it. Lebo looked up at him, and for the first time, she saw something she never expected. Earnestness. Maybe Thabo wasn't playing a game anymore. At school, things between them were different. There was an unspoken understanding now. Thabo no longer tried to impress her with grand gestures. Instead, he showed up in the little moments, walking her to class, helping her carry her books, sitting with her under the mango tree after school. I never knew you could be this simple, Lebo admitted one afternoon. Thabo chuckled. I never knew I could either. Lebo smiled, shaking her head. Maybe she had misjudged him all along, but not everyone was happy with their growing closeness. One afternoon, as Thabo packed his books into his bag, his old friends approached him. You're really serious about this girl? Chuka asked, crossing his arms. Thabo sighed. Yes, I am. But she's not your type, Ifeanyi scoffed. She's different. Thabo's jaw tightened. Maybe that's exactly why I like her. His friends exchanged glances. The bet had long been forgotten, but it seemed some people still doubted him. Meanwhile, Lebo had her own battles to face. Her best friend, Ifeoma, had been distant lately. One day, Lebo finally confronted her. Ifeoma, what's wrong? Ifeoma hesitated before sighing. I just don't want to see you get hurt again, Lebo. Lebo's chest tightened. I don't either, but what if he's changed? Ifeoma studied her, then shook her head. I hope you're right. Lebo did too. One evening, Thabo invited Lebo to his family's home for dinner. As she stepped into the grand house, she felt a wave of nervousness. His parents were well-known business people in Lagos, and she wasn't sure how they would react to her. But to her surprise, Thabo's mother welcomed her warmly. Any girl who can make my son behave himself is a miracle worker, she joked. Lebo laughed. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. Dinner went well, until Thabo's father spoke. So, Lebo, he said, his sharp eyes studying her, what does your father do?
Lebo swallowed. He passed away when I was little. An uncomfortable silence followed. Thabo's father simply nodded, then continued eating. Later that night, Thabo found Lebo outside, staring at the stars. I'm sorry about my dad. He can be harsh. Lebo sighed. I get it. I'm not the kind of girl he expected you to be with. Thabo took her hand. But you're exactly who I want to be with. The next few weeks were some of the happiest of Lebo's life. She and Thabo spent more time together, and she began to believe, really believe, that this was real. Until she overheard a conversation that shattered everything. At school, she was passing by an empty classroom when she heard Ifeanyi's voice. I still can't believe Thabo actually fell for the girl he was supposed to be playing. Lebo's breath caught in her throat. Playing. Heart pounding, she stepped closer, listening. Chuka's laughter followed. Yeah, imagine that. What started as a stupid bet turned into real feelings.
Lebo's stomach twisted. A bet? The walls seemed to close in around her. It had all been a lie. Again. She turned and ran. Thabo knew something was wrong the moment he saw Lebo that afternoon. Her eyes were distant, her shoulders tense. What's wrong? He asked. She turned to him, her voice cold. How long were you going to keep lying to me? Thabo's blood ran cold. Lebo, I heard everything, Thabo. The bet. The game, Thabo's heart sank. It wasn't like that, not anymore. But Lebo shook her head. I trusted you." And then she walked away. Thabo had never felt so helpless. He tried calling. She didn't answer. He went to her house. She refused to see him. His world had been flipped upside down, and for the first time in his life, he didn't know how to fix it. Lebo had become more than a challenge, more than a bet. She was everything. And now, he had lost her. Lebo buried herself in schoolwork, refusing to think about Thabo. But late at night, she couldn't escape the memories. The laughter, the kindness, the moments that felt real. Had it all been an illusion? Thabo wasn't giving up. He sent her a letter, then another. He showed up at her mother's shop, helping out without saying a word. Lebo ignored him, but deep down she knew. He was trying, but could she ever trust him again? One evening, Mama Nwosu sat beside Lebo. "That boy, he is not giving up," Lebo sighed. "Maybe he should?" Mama Nwosu smiled. "Or maybe he is proving something." Lebo frowned. "What?" "That he loves you." Thabo stood outside Lebo's house, holding an envelope. It wasn't just a letter, it was his heart in words, and this time he prayed she would listen. Lebo opened the letter with trembling hands. "Lebo, you once asked me to prove I had changed. I am still proving it, and I always will. I love you, not as a game, not as a bet, but as the best thing that ever happened to me." Tears blurred her vision. Maybe, just maybe, she was ready to believe again. It took time, but little by little, Lebo let Thabo back into her life. She made him work for her trust, and he did, day after day. Their love story wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in the end, that was all that mattered. Under the bright lights of their graduation ceremony, Thabo turned to Lebo. "We made it!" Lebo smiled. "Yes, we did." Thabo took her hand. "And I'll keep proving my love, every single day." Lebo squeezed his hand, her heart finally at peace. "Then I'll keep believing in you." And as they stepped into their future, together, they knew. This was no longer a bet. It was love. What do you think about this story? Have you ever seen or experienced something similar? Share your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest updates and stories. From Insight Stories, the home of stories. We appreciate your support and can't wait to share more exciting tales from the world. Until next time, keep quizzing and stay curious. On Insight Stories.